Good morning. This is Merrill Jinks with today's edition of Merrill's Monday Morning Market Madness. Coming at you with an update of what's going on in the real estate market here in the Phoenix metro area, usually with a focus in the Southeast Valley. Today, as always, we will begin by taking a look at the month supply of inventory, which is a metric that helps us gauge how much of a buyer's market or a seller's market we have. Right now, the month supply of inventory is the highest that it has been since we started this episode, since we started doing this show at 1.97. However, it is still below a 2, which is still very much a seller's market, still very, very hot market. And frankly, the only reason the month supply of inventory has has gone up to the 1.97 is just because of the slower sales volume that we tend to have every year in December and January. But come February, it starts picking up, and by March, it will become a frenzy. Oftentimes by April and May, we're selling close to 10,000 homes a month. So right now in our entire MLS, we have 12,558 active listings. There are 8,752 that are under contract or pending, which is a pretty significant increase. We were sitting as low as about 7,000, so almost 2,000 additional pending listings right now. And then 6,368 listings that have closed within the past 30 days. I also just want to remind everyone that is still a very big increase over the January 2019. We're still seeing probably close to I'll know by the end of January, but close to somewhere between 15-20% more sales happening this January than we saw happening in January of 2019. So the market continues strong as ever. Don't let that slight increase of month supply of inventory fool you. Another interesting thing that was actually just released this morning was that in December, now this is national news, but in December, new housing starts hit a record high for 13 years, over somewhere around 1.5 million. I didn't write down the exact number, but nationally, somewhere around 1.5 million new construction permits were pulled in the month of December. It was an increase of 17% over November, so a huge spike for the month of December. And again, that is a record high new housing starts for 13 years. So obviously, and for those of you who live in the Southeast Valley, new construction everywhere. And I'm sure with Phoenix being one of the hottest housing markets in the country, we're seeing an even greater new housing start impact than what is being seen nationally. Lastly, I'd like to take a look at what we call the sold to list price ratio. One of the biggest things that I get when I meet with homeowners who are thinking about selling their home is oftentimes they want to try listing it a little higher than it's actually worth so that they have room for negotiation. Now, it depends on exactly where your home is valued, but the reality is that in this hot market that we're having right now, most sellers are getting very near full list price. So, in the past 10 years, kind of a historical average is around 97%. On average, a seller will get, 3% below the asking price. So if you're asking 100,000, then on average, you're going to get 97,000. However, with how hot the market is, especially in the Southeast Valley, I'm only looking at the Chandler, Gilbert, and Queen Creek area for these numbers, but just wanted to give you a quick idea. So keep in mind, 97% is kind of a historic average. So in the $200,000 to $300,000 range, the sold to list price ratio is 99.2%. In other words, people are getting close to full asking price, 0.8% below their asking price. The $300,000 to $400,000 price range, exactly the same, 99.2%. We see a tiny dip in the $400,000 to $500,000 price range to 98.9%. So even if your home is somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000, you're really only going to get, on average, 1.1% below your asking price. Now, keep in mind, if your home is worth $200,000 and you list it for $500,000, that doesn't mean you're going to get 1% less than $500,000. But as long as you're pricing your home accurately, you should be selling the home, very, very close, within 1%. If it is under $500,000, within 1% of what you're asking. Let's jump over $500,000, $500,000 to $600,000 price range. Sold to list price ratio is 98.3%. And then in the $700,000 to $800,000 price range, it's 97.8%. And then lastly, in the $800,000 to $900,000 price range. Now, in all fairness, this sample size is getting really small. In the last 30 days, only 8 homes between 8 and 900,000 have sold. So the sample size is a little small, but the sold to list price ratio is 96.6%, which is kind of along with the average for the entire Phoenix metro area. 900 to a million, again, very small sample size, only 6 homes. The sold to list price ratio actually goes up slightly to 97.2%. And then interestingly, the nine homes over $1 million have sold in Chandler, Gilbert, and Queen Creek in the last 30 days, and the average sold to list price ratio on those homes was 97.8%, so actually higher than the $800,000 to $1 million price range. But again, very small sample size of only 9 homes. So on average, the higher the price range gets, the bigger that gap in the sold to list price ratio is going to be. Now, why do you care about the sold to list price ratio? Well, the reality is that when buyers don't feel like they have a lot of options and they love your house, they're going to make a very strong offer. When they have a lot of options and they like your house, but they also like 5 other houses, they're going to make more aggressive offers. And so the sold to list price ratio, much like the month supply of inventory, gives us a very good metric of how hot is the market right now. When I was pulling up the stats for these homes this morning, actually quite a few of these homes were even selling above list price. I saw one home that even went 8% above the asking price. So that again is another metric pointing to we are in a very, very hot market. And so if you own a home and you're thinking about selling, let us know and we'd be happy to let you know what you could actually sell your home for. But a note to the buyers that we're working with as well. A lot of buyers sometimes want to put in these really aggressive offers. If you're trying to make an offer that's 10% below what the seller is asking in one of these price ranges, very unlikely that it's going to get accepted because again, the market is very hot. Sellers are getting very close, in most cases within 1 or 2%, even above $1 million of what they're asking. So that really points to how hot the market is. I hope you found this information helpful, and I look forward to hearing from you soon. By the way, if you found this information helpful and you'd like to receive more of this kind of content, please like us on our Facebook page or subscribe to us on our YouTube channel.